Anytime Lisa gets to lament what a pain in the ass Bart is always hilarious for me, and I think Nancy Cartwright, who voices Bart, enjoys it as well. You have the best audio quality in microphones. You can hear yourself back in headphones. It was such an incredible dream come true. I probably worked on it for 3 or 4 days, the actual singing part, and it makes you feel like, oh, man, I can really sing. This is fantastic. So to sing as Lisa, I kind of have to squeeze my throat a little bit, which is completely the opposite of what you should do to sing. I think people's perception of Lisa's voice is that it's very high, but I'm really more of an alto or a second soprano at least. People actually ask me that a lot, if I get bored playing Lisa Simpson. 2 things: 1, as I said earlier, I genuinely love her and every time I get to play her it is like spending time with somebody that is a part of you, that you grew up with, that you never want to be in a world without. And 2, every week, the words are different. So I just think we could get some real gold out of a friendship between Lisa and Dwayne Johnson. Tim Long wrote that episode, and oh, he was all about it. He had studied so many Morrissey performances and interviews, and he was determined to nail it as closely as he possibly could. I just thought it was such a strong, brilliant, wonderful episode and one of the great things about being animated. Romance is dead. It was acquired in a hostile takeover by Hallmark and Disney, homogenized, and sold off piece by piece. I probably have more fun with the original songs. But if we're having a non-singing guest, I really want The Rock to come on and strike up a friendship with Lisa Simpson. I just think that would be one of those really special episodes, much like when Lisa Simpson befriended Sideshow Bob for that one episode. But the Union Strike folk song was a pretty perfect fit. I love that she was out there by herself. I love that it's sort of an old-school way to stake your protest. And I was so surprised, I'm still surprised, that it's a fan favorite. I've had a lot of correspondence on Twitter and stuff about that song and people remembering it fondly. Kelsey Grammer actually came in and recorded with me on a separate recording day. He says he usually does this stuff separately, and it was brilliant. It was one of my favorite days of recording ever. Everybody sort of questioned why we get married on New Year's Day, and of course, the avid sports fans wouldn't come, because they had to watch the Rose Bowl or whatever that is on that day. I remember the conviction in the lyrics and in Lisa, so even if the notes aren't perfect, I think it goes a long way towards selling a song. In this case, the song was actually pretty much in my range. And so, very often, the top of the range of the song is like, I can't get up there, because I can't do it. It's just impossible. Could you drop that a third, or can we do some sort of modulation? But still, they have Lisa sing a lot. They get tremendous joy out of it. I get a lot of anxiety. 2 such disparate people, who you would never think would find common ground, come together and find common ground, and it was magic. I didn't get to sing with Benedict Cumberbatch, because he was in London. Science has already proven the dangers of smoking, alcohol, and Chinese food, but I can still ruin soft drinks for everyone. I remember being on a flight from New York just before the pandemic, and I watched 2 of those pitch-perfect movies and loved them. I had really good pitch, but I couldn't compete in that arena, so I stopped auditioning for Broadway musicals because I clearly couldn't cut it there. So I don't know where anybody got the idea that I could really sing. It bears mentioning that even if it's slightly out of my range, they very graciously allow me to slip out of Lisa Simpson a tiny bit so that I can hit the notes. Like in God Bless the Child, on The Simpsons Sing the Blues, there's no fucking way I could have hit the top of that song as Lisa Simpson. I had to drop in some of Yeardley in order to belt that out because it physically couldn't happen. When I knew I wanted to be an actress, I took singing lessons. But once I moved to New York, I would go on these musical auditions and I was so out of my depth with people who had these extraordinarily powerful voices. I was a huge fan of Flight of the Conchords. He was so gracious and so kind. When I tell you I listened to that song 100 times, it's no exaggeration. I was like, I'm going to fucking nail this, because that's part of my job. There was so much joy in singing the Josh Groban song. I loved how much they loved him. I love that we actually named him. We didn't do a parody, it actually was Josh Groban. It was such a charming episode. I have a good ear, but I don't really read music. We always brief our guests on the rare occasion that they come in and record with us. I love Kristin Chenoweth, but I don't want a duet with her. I'd like her to come and sing on our show. I do love it when Lisa Simpson goes all out and is such an 8-year-old. Again, back to moaning Lisa and second grade blues, where she is telling her truth as an 8-year-old. And I felt they really nailed it, from a little girl's point of view. Why wouldn't you go all over the neighborhood, belting out songs like that? Of course, you would. I thought that was great. Yeah, that was so fun. You can't create a monster, then whine when it stomps on a few buildings. Nowadays, because of technology, you really can pick people up anywhere around the world, and it's quite easy. But she, Lady Gaga, came in, and we said, this is the process, so just don't freak out. All good. And I got to stand next to her, and that was thrilling. I didn't know Benedict could sing. He recorded his bit ahead of me, so I had the great pleasure of listening to him, which is why maybe also I couldn't concentrate, because I was like, this is so great. I was in a cloud, in a fog. But he was fantastic. When he was doing Quillaby, he wanted the character to come from Manchester, and he was self-monitoring his accent. He's truly one of the most talented actors we have in our generation. For all you know, they're auto-tuning you as they play it back, but that's okay. I'm alright with that. I'm trying to pass myself off as anything other than a yellow 8-year-old with 4 fingers. Again, they always pair me with these people who can really sing. Emily Blunt is Broadway caliber. And Lady Gaga. I remember going into that studio and working with the producer. I don't know why I kept singing the harmony because again, I'm not innately musical that way. I don't think Lady Gaga came to the table read, but she did record with us and she was fantastic. She's so beautiful, so humble, and so game. It's not our fault our generation has short attention spans, Dad. We watch an appalling amount of TV. So then they start to play the song, and Lady Gaga starts to sing. I'm like, what the fuck? Honestly? Really? I sounded like I was chewing on metal parts and she is just this extraordinary singer. I took piano when I was a kid and quit after 3 or 4 years,